Welcome back, guys, to the Football Fanatic channel. And Manchester United do manage to get a victory against Southampton tonight, but I mean, at what cost? It's Amad Diallo making a hat trick and being the one-trick pony for Manchester United. Is that particularly a very good thing? Yes and no, both. As I said before on the preview, Southampton were going to be a very possession heavy game. They're gonna be very possessive or like be very possession heavy towards Manchester United, but in this instant or in this case, Southampton did let Manchester United have most of the ball, which is I think 59 to 41, because they knew that Manchester United would be playing off the ball a lot more and would be prone to making those runaways or those counters. So they were happy to let Manchester United have the ball and then just maybe try to do whatever they can do, but they didn't really press that high up, or they didn't really put up the most amazing or the most scintillating performance in the midfield area. They kept losing the ball in the midfield. That's why you lost players like Kobe Menu in halfway into the game. Even players like Ugarte, they just weren't doing it for Manchester United. They had to bring on players like Toby Collier and Christian Eriksen, which was I think maybe a decent call to bring out. But I think the midfield was mostly dominated by Ugo Chukwu, who was Chelsea's loanee, and I think the other guy's name is RBO. I hope I'm getting it right, but these two were really dominating it there. Kyle Walker Peters was another good left back or the right back. He was kept on changing positions on wherever he wanted to play. Really, a person who was really good for Southampton was Sulemana. He was really good alongside Tyler Dibling. I did think that Tyler Dibling would have a pretty good game, but Sulemana was not far behind. He was really good, made amazing dribbles, was able to dribble across the back line for Manchester United, and was troubling Euro the entire time. I mean, he wasn't exactly able to pocket him, but you did hear the commentator say that, but it's just the commentators think. But Sulema was really good. He made a lot of good challenges and take-ons. Um, I think he had a better take-on rate than any of the Manchester United players, other than maybe Amad Diallo, because Diallo, of course, did get the hat trick for Manchester United. But setting aside all those things, Manchester United did lack again in the not I'm not going to say that it's the possession aspect, but just in general not having the tenacity to fight, or maybe even the capability to keep pushing forward, or having the same mentality as they did in the game before, which was the Arsenal game. I mean, against smaller teams, they just don't have that mentality to we want to fight back or we want to win. It's just individual brilliances that's making them winning these games. So against the game, this game on Sunday against Brighton could be a pretty tough week. I mean, Brighton did manage to get a victory today as well against Ipswich Town, but looking on the bright side, Bruno Fernandes is back in form. He was making pretty good passes. He was dropping pretty good, crosses and passes both. Joshua Zirkzee was making pretty good, intricate, flick passes, and his performance to assist Amad Diallo twice, even though it was deflect. The first goal was deflected against Kyle Walker Peters, but Zirkzee was pretty good. I think he had a pretty amazing performance for Manchester United, and overall, I think he played a very good game in general. Um, Something other than that to consider is that Manchester United did lack in the ball retention aspect, which is, as I said, the midfield was not up to the mark. They kept losing the ball in the midfield areas. That's why Ugarte and Meno had to be removed and Bruno had to be brought in a little deeper into the midfield. And someone like maybe Anthony, who I think had a really good game. Anthony, yeah, the same guy who's been trolled for Manchester United. But yeah, he did have a pretty good game. He did miss a very big chance. So did Alejandro Garnacho. Manchester United did have an XG of 3.52, which was figuratively way more and higher than Southampton, which was 1.54, I believe. Yeah, and Amad Diallo himself alone had an XG of 1.78, which is a lot. So Diallo, yeah, I mean, hands down, you carried the whole game. You know, you're the one trick pony for Manchester United and their fans. But something to definitely look at is the improvement aspects, or where Manchester United should be improving. Um, Probably in the midfield areas. I'm not gonna say that they're not good while being on the transition. They just need to get this one thing straight. It's pretty simple and it's pretty clear that smaller teams like Southampton, of course, they didn't let Manchester United stay off the ball for too long because they knew they'd be on the break and be on the counter, of course. So Manchester United really need to be taking advantage of these factors that they have the ball more, and Ruben Amorim is a type of manager who likes their players to have the ball more and play with the ball a lot more often. So I think that's a factor to be considered very well. They've played three games where they didn't have the ball very much. They were on the counter against City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. These three were the big games, or like the games where you could say they won. Could say in a mentality way they won the game because they were the better side in a way, because against Arsenal they did put up an effort. Even against Liverpool they did. I think arguably they had one of the best games against Liverpool in the 1-1 draw. But yeah, they need to focus on this aspect, that where they want to apply and do what things. There's there's little implementation, or there's little application to whatever Manchester United and the players have in their minds, that this is what we want to do, but they can't really do that. It's something like how Trent is at Liverpool, or how Andy Robertson is at Liverpool. Robertson has the mindset, or not exactly the mindset, but he has the capabilities or the instincts to act upon something, but due to his body factors he can't particularly do those things. That's because he's aging and he can't do certain things, like maybe playing for too long, more than 60 minutes. But as for Trent, he's someone who's very young, but he doesn't have those application skills that you could apply directly to be suiting to be playing in that style of play, or the style of defending, or even the style of attacking, how Slot wants to play. So maybe there's this sense of urgency that Manchester United really need, that there should be some application to whatever they're doing, which is in this case in the Southampton game was being a lot more aggressive against Southampton, especially Southampton, because they're sitting at the bottom of the table with just getting one win in their, what, I think 20 21 games, which is very less. And Manchester United really looking for points in these past few weeks, or these past few fixtures in the Premier League. They have to act upon all of these things and consider the fact that they need these 3 points against lower sided teams like them, or maybe even Brighton, because Brighton haven't been winning games and they've been drawing a lot of games. So I think it's a big factor to consider, that Manchester United really do need to work on this aspect, because it is a mentality issue. Yes, as I've said it before. So application is one problem, and implementing them is also another thing. You're not exactly pressing, or you're not exactly telling the players to act upon it. So I'll give you an example. Jamie Carragher was once. He's not. I mean, can be a good pundit sometimes, but I don't really rate him that highly because of the controversial thing that he says. Nor do I rate Gary Neville as well. I'm just being particularly unbiased. So he did mention in this one tactical analysis thing that he was doing on Sky Sports, that Casemiro was asked by Ruben Amorim to press higher on the pitch, but he wasn't exactly comfortable. I can't exactly remember what game it was. Maybe it was against Ipswich or maybe Brighton. So he was asked to press higher into the field by Ruben Amorim, but Casemiro wasn't exactly pressing higher, because it's not somewhere where he'd be very comfortable to press in. So I think this aspect of not having the ball a lot, uh, you know, needs to be maybe changed if you're looking to be a very possession heavy team. But again, teams this season are playing pretty direct and they're looking to ping the ball long and really not keep the ball that often, because, well, teams do sit on a low block and then just try to defend as the game progresses. So it's just really dependent on Manchester United on how they want to play in the further going matches. Although I do would like to lay specific emphasis on the fact that if you're playing against bigger teams, like if you do want to sit on the counter and like be on the break constantly and make those like excruciatingly long runs and then just absorbing all of that pressure, that's great, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, if you do want 3 points in a league, or even if you do, want to progress to the next stage of a cup match, you're gonna have to consider the fact that you're gonna need the ball more than the opposition, especially against a weaker team, and be dominant on the ball as well. Like you're pressing, you're getting the ball in the good areas of the pitch. You can't be losing the ball frequently in the midfield and making it reach to the final third to players like maybe Garnacho or those like Xerxes to make those intricate passes, or maybe even Diallo. Diallo, we've seen today how good he was on those brilliant take-ons. I mean, I was very skeptical that maybe Diallo might not be able to do those take-ons because the whole United squad is lacking a lot of confidence in those 80th minute areas, but Diallo did it, and he did it in a pretty good fashion. So I think it is a bit of a mentality issue, but it is also down to how Manchester United would like to see themselves play in the future under Amorim. So yeah, I mean that's about it. But Southampton did put up a really good game. I think the man of the match for me would for Southampton would be Sulemana. Uh, Really good dribbler, really well played. He outsmarted Euro in so many ways, and just the Man United defense in general. And Tyler Dibbling, just remember that name. Someone who is to be looked out for or sought out for those big clubs. He's being eyed by a lot of big clubs currently. Tyler Dibbling. So I think yeah, that's a pretty good shout to consider that he's going to be a pretty big guy. So yeah, Southampton did play a pretty good game. And yeah, that's about it, guys. And do subscribe to the channel Football Fanatic on YouTube and on Instagram as well, which is football underscore fanatic 003. And thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I'll see you. Ciao.